Hey guys, it's Spark from BladeForums.com, and today we're going to talk about Boker's new for 2019 out-the-front automatics. If you've watched our SHOT Show coverage at the Boker booth, then you saw a quick hands-on with these knives, so now that they've arrived, we're going to take a closer look. Checking out the box, we see that it's made of press board. Externally, we see that the Boker logo is on top, and the side here has the model number. In this case, it's the 06EX260, which means this knife is the stonewash blade black handle model. I don't know why Boker doesn't put a more verbose description on the end here. I can tell you from personal experience that it makes it incredibly difficult to find the knife you're looking for unless you've memorized the part number. So who knows, maybe Boker will listen and put model name and description on the side. We'll see. Alright, so looking at the side of the box, or the front of the box, we can see that the box lid is held shut by a small magnet, which makes this kind of nice. This is not a bad little gift or presentation box that the Boker comes with. I've gone ahead and cut the seal here to save some time. Opening the box, we see packaged desiccant, Boker's warranty information, and the knife itself. The knife comes packaged in a plastic sleeve and is nestled inside of some kind of high-density foam to prevent it from getting damaged during transport. So, taking the knife out of the package, knife opens and closes very easily. We can see that this is a slimline, very small firing button. They've milled a fuller into the back of the blade for stiffness. We see again, this is the stonewash blade model with a drop point. Black aluminum handle with traction grooves. Deep carry steel pocket clip. Boker USA laser engraved, or I think it's laser engraved. The front of the blade has Boker on it. The back of the blade says Hogue and 154 cm made in the US. Alright, so real quick, let's get the specifications out of the way here. This, of course, is considered a pocket knife. Total length on this is 8.0 inches, has a blade length of 3.5 inches. Blade material is 154 cm. Handle material is aluminum. The opening is a sliding switch, and that also acts as the safety and the method of unlocking. Opening method is automatic. This is a double action OTF. Color on the handle is black. This model in particular is a stonewash blade. The 06EX260 is a stonewash blade. Also available in a black blade as the 06EX260. There's also a coyote brown model, the 06EX263, however it has not been released at this time. The black blade model is PVD coated for corrosion and wear resistance. Alright folks, so now that we got the specifications out of the way, let's have a brief overview of what this knife is and how we got to here. Boker has a history of not only making their own knives in-house, but partnering with other companies around the world to have designs built to their specification. Their Plus line features knives made in Germany, the US, and Asia. For their autos, however, everything is made in the US. Last year partnered with ProTech to produce the Lucas Burnley design Kwaikin Auto. This year they're working with Hogue out of Nevada to produce their new made in the US OTF autos. Remember when we looked at the back of the blade and we saw the Hogue? There you go. If you're familiar with the various out-the-fronts out there, then you'll recognize the lines of the Boker OTFs, but if you aren't, let me give you a bit of backstory here. Auto knives have kind of a weird history in the US. They were prevalent throughout the country and featured commonly in movies in the early part of the 20th century. Schrade during World War II was a major manufacturer of them, and the Camillus 2534 paratrooper knife was another iconic military-issue switchblade. But in November 1950, an article called "The Toy That Kills" was published in the Women's Home Companion, and it warned mothers about the dangers of switchblades and how their children were in danger. This was amplified by movies like Rebel Without a Cause and 12 Angry Men, where the switchblades played a prominent role in the hands of villains. This touched off a wave of fear-mongering similar to what we're seeing today with the so-called assault weapons and high-cap magazines and stuff like that, and politicians decided to do something. And what they did resulted in the Federal Switchblade Act being passed and automatic knives largely disappearing from the market. OTF knives first came on the scene in the 60s as an evolution to the gravity knife, which had been around since the mid-1800s. Models were available from Hubertus, Bunkin and Sabine, Panzermesser, and I think Mykov, but in my opinion, the most iconic was the old school K108 from Bell Metal, aka the NATO military. The NATO military was made overseas and sold as kits by outfits like the Edge Company. These and a variety of other models were really the only readily available OTFs in the US for decades. That changed in the early 2000s with the Microtech Ultratech. Microtech came onto the scene in the mid-90s, and like Dalton and Valatin, they had offered single-action OTF models like the Halo for years, but they broke new ground with the Ultratech by having a quality double-action OTF available for sale. They were quickly followed by people like the James brothers with the Desert Knife Works Sand Shark. For those of you that haven't seen one, I've actually got one right here. Check this out. Look at this beefy guy. They were quickly followed by the James Brothers Desert Knife Works Sand Shark, the Masters Defense Harkins Triton, and various other models. In 2006, Benchmade entered the fray with the 3300 Infidel, which was quickly followed by the Pagan, then the Mini Infidel. Where this gets interesting, though, is when Benchmade partnered with Heckler & Koch for several years and offered a slimline double-action OTF with the Benchmade model 14800 Turmoil in 2012. This model was discontinued and replaced by the 14808 Tumult in 2015. And these knives were wildly popular. The Turmoil and the Tumult sold like hotcakes because under Benchmade's Heckler & Koch brand line, there was no or minimal allowable advertising price, so people were discounting them, and you would see double action out the fronts flying off the shelves for like the low 200s. But you know, Benchmade and HK's licensing agreement ended at the close of 2016, and Benchmade quickly retooled the 14808 and 14850 models into their black class as the new 4600 Phaeton and 4700 Precipice. But Heckler & Koch went in a different direction and partnered with Hogue. That resulted in the Hogue Hadron series, which brings us to Boker. As mentioned previously, Boker partners with multiple companies to have designs produced. With Hogue's experience making the Hadron in the 34000 series, it didn't take them much to be able to partner up with Boker and offer these OTFs here. So here we have it. This knife is very similar to the Hogue and HK collaboration, and they just moved it, or they produced a variant for Boker, and this is where we're at. So let's talk about the likes and dislikes on this. In the likes column, I love OTF autos. I really can't say enough about them. In my opinion, they are the perfect knife for daily carry, especially if you're working on a ladder or you need to maintain control over whatever you're cutting and you just can't set the knife down. Me personally, I carried a Microtech Scarab for like 15 years. The only reason I'm not carrying it now is because after 15 years of beating the hell out of it, I broke the spring and I need to send it in for warranty repair. A double action OTF auto can be open and closed with one hand and then repocketed to allow you to maintain 3 points of contact while off the ground, or keep it a handle on whatever you're doing. Say if you're like, let's say you're inverted and cutting away a seatbelt while responding to a car wreck, or if you're in a confined space or whatever. If you're needing to keep a hold of whatever you're working on, you need to open the knife, cut whatever you need to cut, close the knife, put it in your pocket. The OTF allows you to do that. So that's what I really love about these. Another thing I like about the Boker Hogue OTF collaboration is that it has a deep carry pocket clip that is reversible. Yeah, that's right. It's reversible. That makes this knife truly ambidextrous. You can use it with the left hand. You can use it with the right hand. It's no problem whatsoever. You can carry it in either pocket. Being truly ambidextrous is a huge deal for a knife. So it's 2019 now, and since the mid-90s, there's millions of people now who have their concealed carry permit. I think by last estimate, there's something around the lines of 17 million people who have permits issued in the U.S. On top of that, there's 13 states that have some means of constitutional carry where you don't even need a permit to carry a weapon concealed. And there's a lot of people now who are carrying pistols, and not a small number of people who carry pistols like carrying a knife for handgun retention. Doesn't matter if you're a cop, if you're a soldier, if you're a guy carrying a Glock 19 every day. You know, having a way to fight somebody off of you, or where you're trying to protect against somebody grabbing your gun, is not a bad idea. So having a knife where you can switch the pocket clip from the right side to the left side, and you can carry your knife on your weak side, it's a no-brainer. It is great. You know, you may be having, you may have something in your right side pocket if you're a right-hander. You're carrying your Glock 19. You're carrying, I don't know, candy bar in your strong side pockets. You got a spare mag in your weak side pocket. You got a flashlight. You got some mace. You got Jolly Ranchers, whatever, and you just don't have enough room in your strong side pocket. Having the knife go in your weak side pocket's awesome. The next thing I like about this is the spine-mounted firing switch, which in my opinion is much more ergonomic than a center-mounted firing switch like on the Benchmade Infidel or, on the Desert Knife Works Sand Shark that I mentioned earlier. These knives are very, very thick. Check out how big these are. And it gets even worse in profile. You've got a knife with a spine-mounted firing button. It's super slim. Look at the Desert Knife Works there. Look at the Infidel. I mean, these knives are chunks. They are absolute units. If you saw these knives coming down the street, you'd be like, "Oh Lord, he coming!" So yeah, I like a slimline knife, especially if I'm carrying something daily. And the Boker OTF Auto really does it for me. I like a super slim auto. Much easier to carry. On top of that, the spine-mounted firing switch acts as the safety on this. It takes a lot of effort to open it up. You're not going to accidentally open it. It takes a little bit of force to get it going. The ridge here allows you to push your thumb up into it to get more positive traction, so that's really cool. The same thing on the closing. Get that thumb on top of it, pull down, closes up, no problem. The last thing on this is the lightweight. At 3.1 ounces, you'll barely know it's in your pocket, and because it's so slim, you won't have any problems carrying a big, bulky cell phone or whatever else you have going on. Pocket real estate is always a premium. If you're carrying a battery backup, if you're carrying a notebook or a Moleskine, if you're carrying a camera, pocket camera. All right, so dislikes. This one's minor, but, it still is what it is. I don't like that there's only 2 screws on the pocket clip. You may have heard the phrase 2 is 1, 1 is none. Well, it really is true here when it comes to pocket clips. If for some reason, somehow you manage to sever one of the heads off of the pocket clip screws here, or it just loosens up and backs off, and you lose that pocket clip screw, then you only have one left, and then the pocket clip can and will rotate, and you may lose your knife. It may be gone. I much prefer 3 pocket clip screws instead of 2. Next thing I dislike is that the blade here is made of 154 cm instead of like S30V or a higher end stainless steel. This knife retails for $329 for the black blade models, and for the silver blade models it's I think like $319. I mean, come on guys, S30V, S35V, it would have been my choice for this. Last thing that I dislike, matte anodizing on the handle. I much prefer military Type 3 anodizing when it comes to knives. The military Type 3 anodizing, like you find on Surefire flashlights, is super hard, super tough. It's a minor thing, but, I just like the military Type 3 hard anodizing. That's what I would have preferred to have seen. But, there's a lot of companies out there that are doing the matte Type 2 anodizing, so you really can't complain too much about that. In summary, This is a neat offering from Boker, expanding the double action out the front market even further, and more competition is always a good thing for the consumer. The action is smooth and fires well, and the knife is slim, compact, and the blade shape works well. All in all, this is a knife I recommend to somebody looking for a tactical DA OTF without a problem. Folks, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please do me a solid of hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. If you have questions or comments on this video, feel free to leave them down below. If you want to discuss this knife or others, please join the 377,000 members of the BladeForums.com community, where you can take part in conversations with other end users, knife makers, and manufacturers. Registration is absolutely free. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend.